Well, this is June, I want to say it's the 8th, 2014. Today was basically harvest day of my onion sets that I put in last year around, I want to say, October. So they've been in the ground for a while. I wasn't too impressed with how they did. I don't think I'll ever plant onion sets again. I think from now on, if I do any kind of onion, it'll be from seed. It's a little more work, but I think the product is a much higher quality onion than what you would get from a set. And you don't know how they grew the set before you got the little mini bulb. So at least, with growing from seed, basically from the start what's going into the onion. So as you can tell, that's where they were. I tilled it up, raked it up, cleaned it up real good, then tilled it up, rolled back out the drip tape. I'm possibly will be putting tobacco plants here when I figure out what I'm going to do. I definitely need to put my tobacco in the ground. It's quite large in the house, and I need to put it in the ground. It needs the ground. That's just junk. It was spinach, gone to seed, died. Kale plant still alive. My beets are still there, waiting for my sis to come down so I can pull them up and give them to her. I might pull one or two tonight, cook them up, eat them for dinner. I know yesterday I pulled up about 6 carrots and had them for dinner, and they were pretty good and pretty good size, a lot better than last year. And I think I finally figured out the way to plant carrots and grow them. So anyways, as you look in there, that's my onion harvesting operation going on. I'm letting those ones dry. I'll walk over here and I'll talk a little bit about them. They're not all the onion sets. Some of these are actually the ones I grew from seed, the ones here in the front here. You can tell these ones here I grew from seed. Those are the sets. The yellows over there, the reds and the whites. You don't see too many whites, there's more there, more there. They're a long day onion. They have to be. They didn't bulb very big. This is June 8th, so they got about 14 hours of sunlight, and they weren't bulbing like they should. These little guys, this is probably the biggest one I've grown from seed, and as you can tell, it's almost, softball size. It's bigger than baseball, for sure. Here's another one, and they bulbed, not very big tops. They had a lot of leaves, don't get me wrong, but not a very big top. An example would be this kind of yellow right here. And we're just going to look at the massive top. Not a very big bulb. You see? Smaller than actually the ones I grew from seed. So see just the massive top. Just massive. So massive it's split in two and started to grow another top. There's got to be dozens of leaves there. And in theory, with that big of a top, that bulb should have been huge, but it wasn't. And that just goes to show you that it was a long day onion grown in an intermediate day zone, and that's what you're going to get. These were short day onions. They bulbed up real nice, these Texas Granos. And next year I'm going to continue to grow that variety. I will no longer grow the sets. I'm going to dry the reds and the yellows, but the whites, they're primarily a cooking onion, so I'm actually dicing them up, and I'll have to show a video on that later on. Okay, so that pretty much concludes the onion harvest for this year. I still have, some in the ground from seed, and those are my green onions, chives, if you want to call them that. They're actually a green onion. And so I still have some onions, but the bulk of them are pretty much gone. So we're going to come over here to the cucumber plants, and they're doing pretty well. They're not very much of a viner. They don't like to climb, I'll say that with these plants. And they don't grow very big, or at least they haven't, but they are excellent producers, and the cucumbers are sweet. I've always had a problem with growing a cucumber that was really bitter, and I didn't like it. So they guaranteed this to be sweet no matter what, so I grew it, and they were right. I'm very pleased with it, and I will continue to buy the seed later, in the coming years. These are my cayenne plants, and if you look at them, they got a few little peppers on them, and the pepperoncinis down there, they got some peppers. If you look real closely, those Greek peppers. You know, and they're blooming. The habaneros I haven't found any blooms on yet. These habaneros are real green, little blooms right there. They're not open yet. I think they had to get a little bigger. My jalapenos are blooming. They're doing well. Watermelon pretty much took over. And the giant watermelons there, you can tell the difference between the Crimson Sweet and the giant. The giant has a bigger, wider leaf. And I don't think I'm going to grow a very big giant watermelon this year, you know. But it's, you know, it's a work in progress. You know, gardening's, you don't learn, you know, it isn't you pick it up and you do really well. It's a learning curve. I don't care what anyone says. It's a learning curve, you know. So, you know, my cauliflower, you know, it's kind of hot, so it's not going to do very well. I actually really haven't paid attention to this. So there's the stump. And he's not very big vines, but, you know, this Crimson Sweet here just kind of, and its stump is over there, and this darn thing's just going everywhere. And, you know, beets and stuff, you know, they're doing okay, just they don't get the fertilizer like on the regular drip. But I think these are cantaloupe melons. I want to hope they are. I don't know what they were. They popped up, and I know they're some sort of melon. I think they're a cantaloupe or maybe a honeydew. And my green onions, I need to tear them out. They're done. They're dead. Their seeds are all over the place. I'm going to be fighting green onions for years to come, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. And then my kale is big as ever. I don't cut it. I don't, you know, if you cut it, the more you cut it, the more it's going to grow. But I don't eat kale. I just grow it because it looks pretty. And these volunteer tomatoes, and you look down there, there's some tomatoes down there, you know. I got potatoes, you know. They're not flowering. It's kind of got me worried because usually the potato plant will flower. And I had to spray them the other day with some pyrethrum, not pyrethrin, pyrethrum, and that's an organic pesticide, so it's safe. You can buy it at Osh or wherever. And because I was noticing a lot of June bugs in there, you know, the holes in the leaves, and they're getting eaten, so I sprayed them with that in the evening to try and combat that. But it's weird, they're growing potatoes, but they're not flowering, so I don't know, maybe it's just that variety of potato doesn't need to flower in order to produce the tubers. I don't know. We'll see. So anyways, my